2016. Homer, we're the only station with the balls to talk professional wrestling. Now, let's go ringside with former professional wrestler and instructor Les Thatcher.
Hey, Tri-State. It's time to ring the bell for Wednesday night main event. Once again, I'm Les Thatcher along with my sidekick, Patrick Black. Dr. Love is in the house. And, of course, Jolton Joel, our engineer. We got two great guests for you in the 2 hours tonight. But first, Patrick, let's roll with some news items on Wednesday night main event.
All right. Here's an update on the Hacksaw Jim Duggan cancer problem. In a 4.5 operation on September 10th, the doctor...
4.5 hours.
That's right. You're right. In a 4.5 hour operation on September 10th. The doctor removed a kidney as well as the lymph nodes surrounding it. Luckily, the cancer was confined to the kidney and didn't spread. This means that Duggan will not have to undergo chemo or radiation treatments. Our best wishes go out to Jim and his family for a speedy recovery.
This next guy may require 4.5 operations or maybe 4.5 hours of operations. FMW and ECW star Mike Awesome will be out of action for at least a year. Awesome had broken his left fibula recently in Japan and already had a bad left knee. He blew out his right ACL this past Saturday, September the 19th, in ECW Arena in Philadelphia during a match with Balls Mahoney. Also on Saturday night, Tommy Dreamer collapsed in the dressing room from back pain after his match. However, it is word that he will not miss any ring time.
It has been confirmed that former ECW champion Sandman has signed a 3-year deal with WCW on Tuesday, September 8th. He will be given time off to rest his injuries before starting with the Atlanta-based company. Oddly enough, Sandman's picture is on the cover of ECW CD released the same week he left the promotion.
Do you care to laugh about that really loud?
Well, it's hard to say. At least he'll be smoking on nitro, maybe?
You never know. They want him to cover up his tattoo, though, of his bloody head.
Oh, yeah. You got another item there, Doc?
Yes, we do. NBC filmed a special called Exposed, Pro Wrestling's Greatest Secrets, which will air November the 1st, head-to-head with a 2-hour live Sunday Night Heat on USA. The show Exposed was taped from September the 8th to September the 13th at the Olympic Auditorium in Los Angeles with 8 masked wrestlers. This week, also at the Olympic, they are going to film the wrestling sequences for the Andy Kaufman movie entitled Man on the Moon, with Jerry Lawler and Lance Russell playing themselves and Jim Ross playing Dave Brown, Lance Russell's sidekick.
Yeah, and there's some big controversy about that we might get into later. First, we're going to tell you about some of the upcoming area wrestling events. Tomorrow night, HWA returns to Bogarts with a 7-bout card, bell time 8 p.m., featuring WWF's Al Snow with a head versus Edge. Darren Drosdorf takes on Bunkhouse Buck, plus Tarek the Great on the card, Shark Boy, Bull Payne, The Expert, Chip Fairway, Sean Casey, and others.
This Saturday, September 26th, Hamilton, Ohio, National Guard Army, 7:30 p.m. 6 big matches featuring Rock and Roll Express Ricky Morton, Cody Hawk, GQ Masters III, Chip Fairway, Honeysuckle Rose, and others.
Saturday, October 3rd, Blanchester, Ohio at the FOE Hall, 7:30 p.m. A great HWA card featuring a 14-man battle royal, plus Ricky Morton, Livewire Sean Casey, Chip Fairway, The Expert, Shark Boy, and more.
Saturday night, October the 10th in Xenia, Ohio at the National Guard Armory, 7:30 p.m. start time featuring lady wrestlers in a mixed tag match, plus Cody Hawk, Bobby Kane,
Chad Collier,
Shark Boy, and others.
Yeah, and of course, WWF returns to Cincinnati Gardens on Wednesday, November the 18th, and we are planning to line up some of the WWF wrestlers to do live with us here in the studio.
Live in the studio?
Yeah, speaking about live, tomorrow, there's a special tomorrow afternoon, 4 p.m. to 5:30 at FSP Toys, 5200 Beachmont Avenue. And for more details on this, you can call them at 513-624-9113. We're going to have the WWF's Edge, and Darren Drosdorf will be there. You can have your photo taken with one or both, and give Keith or John, the owners, a call, and that's 513-624-9113, FSP Toys on Beachmont. They got a lot of great collectibles out there. They really do. Some good wrestling stuff, dragsters. Man, I'm really hot on the dragsters.
Speaking of collectibles, have you seen the new Brian Pillman doll that the WWF just released?
They got it out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and at a reasonable price, believe it or not.
$4.95. Go to Toys R Us or a KB. It's probably going to be a really good collector's item.
Yeah, it should be. You're absolutely right. We got a guest going to introduce you in just a moment. Next week, we'll remind you that's next Wednesday, September the 30th. From ECW's Triple Threat, Chris Candido and his lady, the former WWF Sunny, Miss Tammy Stitch. And on Wednesday, October the 7th, WWF's Road Dogg, Jesse James, and his father, the legendary Bullet Bob Armstrong. Wednesday, October the 14th, chairman of WCW's executive committee and original manager of the Four Horsemen, J.J. Dillon, will be in the house. And we're working on some other guests like Terry Funk. Got a call in for him, Ric Flair. But speaking of real special guests, and I am, my initial contact with tonight's first guest was in the 60s, when this young boy came to work with his father, who happened to be one of the NWA's top referees. Well, this young boy has gone on to great heights himself in the squared circle and to form one half of what must be considered one of the top tag teams of all time. He's the blonde half of the legendary Rock and Roll Express, my longtime buddy, Ricky Morton. Ricky, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Les. It's good to hear your voice.
Hey, brother, it's always good to talk to you. And we do go back a long way, right?
Oh, yeah, we sure do.
And speaking of Dad, for those who don't know, that would be Paul Morton, who was a great referee through the 60s, 70s, and into the early 80s. And how's Dad doing, Rick?
Well, Les, he's doing all right. You know, he's already retired. He's sitting back on the couch. I guess you could say he's counting his money. But other than that, you know, he's the same old Paul Morton. Had his personality hasn't changed a bit.
You know, I was thinking tonight on the way in here to do this show, you and I have one thing in common in terms of our career. We both basically specialize in tag team wrestling.
Yes.
And tag team wrestling is almost a dying art. Don't you agree?
Well, in a sort of way I do, Les. But, you know, I guess you could say I'm from the old school. What done the best will always come back. And I think tag team wrestling is going to come back. It's going to come back real great.
Well, you know, I would hope that's right. You know, but don't you think the psychology of the tag teams, they're just not the same. They're just not the same deal anymore.
Well, nowadays you got to understand that when Robert and I were tag team, it was back, you know, in the early 80s when wrestling was different. You have to understand that Robert and I, we strive on helping each other. When we was in the ring, I didn't think that I was a much better wrestler than Robert, and Robert didn't think he was a much better wrestler than I was. We worked together. When we was in that ring, we knew what each other was going to do before we even done it. You see, nowadays, to me, you know, I might be saying something to insult people, but it's like they're out there just for themselves, not for the tag team.
I agree with you, and I think a lot of times when you'll sit back, you'll watch, you try to see something build, the psychology's lost. You don't see the real fiery hot tags anymore, or the heels feeding themselves.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's just, the timing's not there, the psychology's not there.
Well, that's true, you know, plus babyface, he thinks that he might be down too much. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
And it's not the thing. That's why Robert and I we were such a successful tag team because I knew my role. You know, when I was out there, I was the guy that gave Robert the hot tag, you know.
Well, that's it. But, of course, the two of you were teamed so long together. Like any good team, you almost knew what your partner was going to do before he did it, right?
Yeah, that's right. You know, and you said we're teams a long time. You know, Robert Gibson and I are still together, you know.
Well, that's right. We're talking like Robert's left someplace, but he actually hasn't.
Yeah, yeah.
He's got more money than you and I got, though, because he's a penny pitcher.
Oh. Squeeze a nickel to it burn.
You know, let's talk about tag team partners. I don't know if he's the first tag team partner, but I think probably a guy that you learned a lot from was a mutual friend of mine, Kenny Lucas.
Well, Ken Lucas was one of the guys that taught me when I was, you know, younger in my years. That's my dad that trained me, and sent me out on my own. I ran into Ken Lucas, and I'd have to say Ken Lucas really gave me the fire that I needed to be at the top ranks of professional wrestling. You know, Ken was always there for me. You got to understand that a lot of people out there didn't know Ken Lucas. And the ones that unfortunate enough not to know him, that he was one of the greatest superstars that this wrestling ever had.
That's right. He was a tremendous performer. And
yes,
talk about a great ring technician and a guy who loved his business and took it seriously. Kenny was all the above.
Oh, yes, he was, Les. You know, I have a lot of respect for Kenny, and if he's out there listening, just tell him I still love him like I always did.
Listen, Ricky, I'm getting the signal here for a break. Hang tough. We got to go earn some bucks for the station, and we'll be right back. This is Wednesday Night Main Event on All Sports 1360. Homer.
Pop quiz. What to do on Friday night?
A. Watch ABC's TGIF Crappy Show Spectacular. B. Sit at home doing homework for the weekend. Or C. Checking out the teenage girls jumping and dancing in tight sweaters and short skirts. Yeah. It's the high school football game of the week.
Hey, Hey, we're back on Wednesday night. Main event here on All Sports 1360 Homer. Don't forget, give us a call at 749-1360, star 1360 on Ameritech. Our special guest, one half of the legendary Rock and Roll Express tag team, Mr. Ricky Morton. Ricky, of course, we've got you this Saturday night. I'm stuttering right here like I'm a big fan of yours, too. We got you this Saturday night in Hamilton, Ohio. You're a six-man tag there. But on October the 3rd in Blanchester at the Eagles Hall, which our first HWA show up there is a big 14-man battle royal. But you're in a single match against a young upstart out of Toronto, Canada by the name of Kingdom James. And I think we've got Kingdom on the line.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, I do. You out there, Kingdom?
Am I coming in there, Mr. Thatcher?
Yes, you're coming in here. Can you hear him, Ricky?
I hear him a little bit, yeah.
All right.
Can you hear me, old man Morton?
Old man Morton.
Boy, you're looking to get your butt kicked, aren't you?
Looking to get my butt kicked.
Yeah.
You know, Lance, it never fails to amaze me how people come out and call Ricky Old Man Morton. And when you look at your TV shows, you have the same people that's been on there for the last 15 years.
And you're 10 years younger than any of them, right?
Hey, I didn't say you weren't pretty, Ricky. You're very pretty. I'm just saying that I remember you when puberty was hitting. I was watching you on TV.
Well,
and it's been a long time come and gone.
I would tell you the same thing I told Joey Maggs one time, and everybody there knows Joey Maggs. He walked in the dressing room last and told everybody, I said, you know, I used to buy a ticket to watch you wrestle, Ricky Morton. Well, I told him, I watched you wrestle. Buy another ticket.
Hello, Kingdom. I think the score is Morton 2, James none.
Kingdom James, is your back hurt right now because you just got body slammed?
I can take it. I can take it. Can Mr. Morton take it?
I think he can take it. You know, Ricky, I told this guy, I said, when I booked this match, Kingdom, if you're smart, you're going to go to school here. It's going to be an education. He said, no, I think I'm going to teach Morton a little bit.
Hey, I hope Ricky Morton is a fan of reincarnation because he will learn the wrestling lesson of 2 lifetimes from the Northern Touch himself, Kingdom James.
Well, you ask, how many people have told me that before? Who are you, Ricky Morton? What have you done? Who have you accomplished? Who have you been? Well, you
I don't care how many people have told me.
Bud. It's fine with me. I'm just looking forward to this match because, you know, it's just like a good woman. I love a good fight, you know?
Well, then you'll love this, Mr. Morton.
I hope so.
Hey, I'm sure he will. And Kingdom, I'll tell you what, you're an up-and-comer, no doubt about it, and you're a good young athlete, but you're going to have your hand full on this one, brother.
That's okay. I don't mind a challenge. I just don't like losing, and I don't think I'm going to lose Saturday, October the 3rd.
So you actually think you're going to beat Ricky Morton?
I don't think I know.
I love a guy that's real confident. I love it.
Boy, that opens a lot of doors, doesn't it, Rick?
Well, Les, you got to understand one thing. People think that now I'm not in WCW or I'm not with WWF, but I'm all washed up. I did this. Well, I'm one of them kind of guys that's from the old school. You know, nobody ever handed me some belts like, you know, something on a silver platter. So here you go, Ricky Morton, you take this, you be the world champion. No, what I got it, brothers, from blood, sweat, and tears. Nobody ever gave myself or Robert Gibson nothing. And when you step in that ring way up there, you got to understand why.
You know what? I think that brings to mind something to me. You were never considered a big guy in our sport. Neither were I. But you broke away from Robert long enough to have some very classic matches with Ric Flair for the NWA World title. Yeah. And I think Mr. Kingdom James might want to get those tapes out of the archives and check those out.
Yeah, you know,
Ric
Flair had thought the same thing, too, when I stepped in the ring with him. With him being the world's champion, you know, being more experienced, stepping in the ring with me. Well, you know, it's nothing that I got to prove. It's something I got to show everybody right now that I still am Ricky Morton. I still am part of the Rock and Roll Express. And I think to myself, I'm still one of the top contenders in this business today.
Well, I just want to tell you, Mr. Morton, I don't want this to sound like disrespect. Okay, I know I'm coming off mouthy. I respect you. I've seen you. I've watched you. I've followed you, and I respect you because you can do the work. All I'm telling you is that I respect myself even more. And when I get my hands on you finally, okay, it's 1, 2, 3, and it's me on top.
Okay.
That's definitely confidence.
Well, that's it. Kingdom, you hold that positive thought till October the 3rd, my friend.
And I hope he does, Wes, because you understand one thing. I've got a lot to prove. I still got a lot to prove, and I'm going to prove it right there that still, no matter what he does or how long the match goes, understand I'm not one of these 7-minute wrestlers. I'm one of these 45 and 50-minute wrestlers. and we'll see you're not tripping over your tongue about 30 minutes in this match. And when I still going to say, we're going 20 more minutes.
Kingdom, he's been reading your mail.
I take the challenge.
Hey, listen, Kingdom, I know you're in the dressing room up there in Lima at the Civic Center. We got a big card up there tonight.
Yeah.
Tell everybody hello for Wednesday night main event crew. We're going to kick you out of here. We'll see you at Hamilton on Saturday night and the 3rd in Blanchester.
Very sure.
All right, brother.
Thank you, bud.
You too.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to go to another caller here on line 3. Hey, Herb, you're on All Sports 1360 Homer.
Yes, I have a question for Ricky Morton.
Sure, you go right ahead.
Did you hold any titles with Ricky Fuji and the SMW?
Beg your pardon, Les, I couldn't hardly hear
He
that.
wanted to know if you held any titles with Ricky Fuji and the FMW.
They have a 6-man world championship over there. Yes, we held that, me, Ricky Fuji, and a guy named Halabusa. That was earlier on, but right now I haven't been back to Panning this year, but I think by next year FMW is looking for me to come back there, really tuning up Ricky Fuji and really doing something.
Is Robert Gibson coming with you?
No, not to Japan. In Japan, myself and Ricky Fuji are established as the Rock and Roll Express.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Herb. Thanks for calling Wednesday night main event. And, of course, for those who don't know, Ricky Fuji actually copied his style and his appearance after you, right, Rick?
Oh, yeah, Ricky Fuji's a great wrestler, Les. You got to understand, being a part of going to Japan so many different times with different organizations there, I got to say that Ricky Fuji is one of the top wrestlers that's in Japan, and to me it's a compliment that he did that,
Right. Now, there's something I'm sure a lot of the fans would wonder about the difference in style. Wrestling here in this country, of course, you get to wrestle some Japanese guys here, but they more or less conform to our style. And then to go over to Japan, you got to set a different pace, right?
Oh, yes. It's totally different atmosphere. It's a totally different wrestling match. There it's high tech. It's high speed. It's nothing sitting around take a headlock, take you over, wait there for 2 seconds. It's go, 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 go.
Okay. And those kids, they're really tough on those kids in camp over there, right? They start them young and work their butts off.
Well, anybody that trains up in the service, it's like being in Marine Corps boot camp. But when you go to one of those dojos in Japan, these guys over there, it's part of dealing not only with the wrestling ability and shape, it's having respect, for the older people, respect for business, and they don't put it in you, they beat it in you.
Of course, over there, now, I know back when I started in this business, I think there were probably 2 major promotions in the entire country of Japan, and what are there now, 20 probably?
Oh, yeah, it's at least 20 different organizations there. It used to be Old Japan, New Japan, which was Baba, and the other one, which is New Japan, got Inoki.
Inoki, right.
That was only 2 that was over at the time.
And now, in fact, they've got, 1 or 2 all-women's federations over there.
Oh, yes. Have you ever seen any of the Japanese lady wrestlers?
Oh, yes.
Oh, my God.
Some of them are bigger than we are, bud.
Well, I'm telling you, they talk about how rough ECW is. Let's go over and check that out,
Well, now, I know, was it last year in the Egg Dome in Tokyo, they did a capacity house with an all-women's card, which is, women's wrestling virtually is dying in this country, and yet over there it's flourishing, and they're putting 50,000 people in the seats.
Oh, yeah. Well, see, that's the reason you have so many organizations in Japan. Wrestling in Japan is your top, sport there. It's, it's bigger than baseball, bigger than anything that you know how big baseball is in Japan.
Sure.
Wrestling is the top sport of anything going in Japan right now.
All right, we've got a caller from Erlanger, Kentucky. Phil, you're on All Sports 1360 Homer. How's it going tonight?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Good.
Is Pancake?
Is Phil. Well, there you go. I think he was looking for Dr. Ruth, and he got us instead. So
I tell you,
I think he's questioning his own sexuality. I'm not real sure.
I missed the question. What did he say?
He asked, our ring announcer, Pat Black, he asked if Pat were gay. I don't know. Maybe he has a crush on him or something. I don't know.
Let's hope not.
He's going to be at Bogart's tomorrow night looking for you.
I'd like security. Les would like some of these guys to come in and visit with him. I think I could persuade them not to be such idiots, but maybe not. I don't know. Anyway, back to wrestling. What the hell? Ricky, you and Robert are teaming now, but then you're working for a lot of the independents throughout the Southeast, and that's keeping you pretty busy, right?
Oh, Les, I'm telling you, it's just about every night. Independents down here in the Southeast of the United States, it's very, the way I put it, very hot at this time. Since the wrestling business is going so great, down here, the independent shows, they're selling outfits, you know, so it's a big demand down in this area, especially when Robert and I were the World Tag Team Champions, and people really know us around here. Robert and I both are a big demand down here, and, you know, we're enjoying ourselves. We're having a good time.
There's a new... I've been asked the last couple of weeks about a promotion. I think it's called New Dimension or something.
Oh, yeah, Chris Plano.
Okay, Manny Fernandez is in it, and Tully Blanchard.
Yes.
And I know, I think I've seen your name on some of the results as well.
Yeah.
We've got to take a break, but when we come back, hold that thought. I want to talk about this new outfit and some of the older guys that are in there.
All right.
Okay, this is Wednesday night main event here on All Sports 1360. Homer.
Sports for Columbus.
Magazines that don't come.
Hall of Fame without Pete Rose.
And he's ready to take your call.
It's the Wild Man.
Mornings from 9 to noon.
Here on All Sports 1360.
Welcome back here, Wednesday night main event. All Sports 1360. Homer talking with Ricky Morton, Les Thatcher, and Patrick Black, and here along with myself, Dr. Love. I just had a quick comment to Ricky. Of course, we were talking about the Ric Flair matches you had earlier on in your career, and you guys pretty much carried WCW with the hour matches along with the Barry Windham Ric Flair hour match they had a couple times, and your tag match on Saturday Night Wrestling when you and Robert went against Manny Fernandez and Rick Rude, one of the classic 60-minute tag matches I've ever seen on Saturday night.
Well, I appreciate that, but, you know, like you said, back then wrestling was different. You didn't go out and have a 5-minute match. You had to go out, you know, and perform. Not only, you know, you talk about going hours. I went 9-hour Broadways with Ric Flair in 1 week. That means one every night.
One in Cincinnati as well.
2 on Sunday.
We saw him in Cincinnati carry the belt out after, he didn't get the victory, I think by disqualification, but...
Yeah.
You know, Rick, I think that's one of the things, too, that fans now are young guys who think they want to be in this business. They watch Monday Night TV and they see these 3- and 4-minute matches thinking, well, man, that can't be too tough.
Well, see, Les, that's what I was going to get to you about a while ago. Talk about our business, how it's changed so much. You know, it used to be when Robert and I, we were the World Tag Team Champions, and other guys, when we wrestled these areas, you know, we got paid by how many people we had in the seat.
That's right.
Nowadays, these guys are on contract. You know, they're making $200,000 and $300,000, and some of them making $1 million a year less, and they don't care about the next show because they know their check is going to be there. And when we was there, we had to wrestle so hard to give these people what they wanted to see to make sure they came back the next week. You know, like it used to be.
Sure.
The way I call it was territories, was areas of the United States where you wrestled at. You know, like down in Louisiana for Bill Watts, over in the Carolinas for the Crockett's. That when you was on top, it was up to you to make sure that you was drawing these people for the guys underneath were making money. Not, you know, and for you to make money, and you had to come back next week and do the same thing again, and hoping the same people would be there. See, let's try that these days.
You're right.
Get you guys that's on top that's making these $1 million a year and run into a town every week for 2 or 3 years and see if they still sell out of it.
You're right. Now, Terry Taylor and I were talking a couple weeks ago on the air here about that very same thing, and I know I mentioned to him the first real big shot I got with the Crockett's in '67, a 6-man in the big Coliseum on Independence Boulevard.
Yeah.
Big Christmas show. We were the headliners, and I told him I was scared to death that we didn't draw. I was afraid to go out of the dressing room because I knew if there wasn't any people in those seats, my butt was history.
That's right. You know, that's the same thing because it's like being a running back. If you couldn't carry that ball, you didn't start. You know, see, you got to say that. I think that Rob and I were very successful because for 2 or 3 years, we sold out everywhere we went.
You're absolutely right. We were talking about New Dimension. What's up with that, with Fernandez and Tully? There must be some great guys for you to work with.
Oh, yes, it is. But you got to understand this. Chris Plano, you know, he's a new up-and-coming promoter, which he runs New Dimension Wrestling, and he's learning. Chris is doing a good job by keeping his talent, you know, new, fresh, bringing in some of the people that were down in that area that were real hot. You know, like you say, I wrestled Manny Fernandez, and we had some classic matches last.
Saw Buddy Landell on one card.
Yes, Buddy Landell's there with them. And matter of fact, this Friday night, I'm over in Eden, North Carolina, which I will be wrestling Tully Blanchard. But, you know, the ticket sales there are going great because people are seeing the old things that they used to see years ago when wrestling was wrestling. And that's what Chris Plano's trying to do, bring back the wrestling to our business.
I think a lot of the independents are doing that, opposed to going in the other direction. And, you know, I think it's a good change, and I think things are going to switch back a little bit.
Yes, people, you get that storyline when you get in the ring. You know, it's not that you go to the ring, grab a guy, shoot him off, you know, 5 head scissors, a suplex, and bust your butt out there on the floor of the concrete. We're going out there to the ring, giving them a story, giving the people these matches something to sink their teeth into. That when the finish comes down, it's believable.
Right, and it's something that makes them want to come back the next time.
Oh yes, sir.
Exactly.
That's the most important thing right there.
There you go. We've got a caller from Williamsburg on the line. Hey Tim, you're on All Sports 1360 Homer. How's it going?
Pretty good. How you doing, Les?
Great.
I had a question for Ricky.
Go ahead.
If something happened and Robert Gibson wouldn't be your partner anymore, who would you pick to be your tag team partner and continue on with the Rock and Roll Express?
Well, around this area here, which Robert, he lives down in Alabama, and a lot of times he's not he can't make some of the shows. I have a new kid up here. His name is David Jericho, which you might have seen him on WWF a couple of times. He wrestles the Japanese boy there.
He looks something like you, too.
Oh, yes, he is. He wrestles at the Rock and Roll Express with me, and if something happened to Robert, he quit. David and I would go together full-time as the Rock and Roll Express. He's a great wrestler, Les.
Oh, yeah, I've heard a lot of good things. I've only seen him once a couple years ago in the flesh, but I was very impressed in him. I'm sure if he's been spending some time in your corner, he's improved a lot.
We have matter of fact, we have about 10 shows coming up, which is we'll be partners together.
That's great. That's great. You got any other questions, Tim?
No, that's it.
All right, well, we appreciate you listening to Wednesday Night Main Event.
All right,
thanks for tuning in. All right, thank you, Tim. You know what, talking about you educating guys, if you're ever staying over when you're working in here for us out at our camp, we train on Sundays. I know the kids would love to have you come out there and get some insight from you.
Yeah, well, that's how I really love doing that. A lot of times, Jimmy Valiant has a wrestling school up here in Virginia.
Right.
And a lot of times they'll go by there, it's a thrill for the guys that are there, to have somebody new there to learn something a little bit more different than just one man's style. To me, it's a pleasure because the guys, they treat me with a lot of respect. They, if I sit down and talk to them and explain to them, they all listen to understand that it's just more to our business than what color outfit you got on or how good your hair looks or if this girl over here is watching me. It's to understand that this is a business, it's an art. That's what I try to teach them.
And we are craftsmen, am I right?
Yes, sir.
Yes. And speaking of craftsmen, did you happen to catch the return of Ric Flair 2 weeks ago on Monday night?
That's what I did. And at the time, I got to say that I had chill bumps on me, too. I got one of the most upright respects for Ric Flair. He has a lot of heat with a lot of boys, but to me, Rick always treated me with the utmost right respect, and I always treated him with that because, to me, no matter whoever says they're a champion or whoever thinks they're a champion, there's nobody that is a better world's champion than the Nature Boy, Ric Flair.
You're absolutely right. The consummate professional, and like yourself, I had tears in my eyes, and I said, my God, these guys, him and Arn, made fan out of me again.
Oh, yeah.
They turned me back into a kid.
If people got to understand where Ric Flair was coming from.
Exactly.
That he spent his life like I have. Let's see, the way I felt, because it felt the same way I did. I spent my life, Les, for this business.
This is how many years for you this year?
It's 20 years, Les.
20 years.
I respected it. I grew up in this business. My dad learned me to respect it.
And your Uncle Mac?
Yes, my Uncle Mac York that wrestled for all these many years. And to see that have somebody else new come in and to throw such good talent away, just to let it go to waste because they don't like so-and-so or their friends don't like so-and-so. This is a business that we gave our life for. And now, like the same kind of situation I'm in, if it comes to big time, I'm sorry I'm not a part of their clique. I'm sorry that, I'm not 6'8" and go out there and do this right here. I'm a professional wrestler. I know when I step in that ring, I know what I'm doing. The same thing as Ric Flair does. He's trying to make everybody understand this. That, buddy, when you put all your heart into this and you just stab us in the back and throw us away, that's wrong.
You're absolutely right. Terry Funk says that our generation, and although you're much younger than I am, I would include you in terms of your mindset in there, is that we love what we do, and when we go to that ring, whether there's 50 or 50,000, you're out there to do the best you can and be a craftsman.
That's right, Lester. That's one thing that I think that you know about Ricky Morton, because I do wrestle a lot of independent shows, and let me tell you, a lot of them sometimes you go to, you don't have a lot of people there.
You're right.
And sometimes you go to, it'll be sold out. But see, those people, I don't care if it's only 10 people sitting out there in that crowd. They paid their money to see me. I don't go out to that ring out there and give them a 4-minute match because my back might be hurt. Or I don't show up because my finger might be broke. It don't matter. For the years I've had broken arms. I wrestled Ric Flair, many hour broadways with my arm broke. I took the cast off and taped it up because that's what the people expected of me. That's why I done this over here for. It's a different era these days.
Right.
It don't matter. Just like you said a while ago, it don't matter to me if there's 10 people out there or there's 5,000 people out there. When Ricky Morton steps in that ring, I'm giving him the money's worth, and I'm not going to go home until I'm satisfied.
Partner, that's why I like to use you, because I know you're going to give me 100% or whatever you got.
Yes, sir, I sure will. And that's because this is my business. This is something that I chose to do. I love this sport. There's nobody in this business, that can say they love it any more than I do, because I live it, I breathe it. The wrestling business is all I know. There's nothing else I can do, Les.
And that's the way you got to live it if you're going to be great at it.
Yes, sir.
In this day and age, it appears it's like the era of the interview, and as you were saying before, they throw away all the good, talented interviewers for basically your crap. You got your Hogan coming out here doing his 10-minute soliloquies, kissing Bischoff, doing, just saying nothing that's really coherent. And you got the guys like Flair and old Tully and Arn and the old Rock and Roll Express and the Cornettes and the Midnight Express that never get any TV time anymore.
Well, no, yes. You see, that's what a lot of people have before called me a frustrated wrestler. No, I'm not a frustrated wrestler. I'm just frustrated at the way the business is going these days. The way that everybody wants to be a star. They forgot about how you got to build that pyramid up to that top match. How
you got to work for it, right?
Sacrifice this for that. Sacrifice yourself to understand for everybody in this business to make money.
Ricky, I'm going to cut you off. We're going to have to take a break. But we'll be right back with the great Ricky Morton. This is All Sports 1360. Homer.
Back on All Sports 1360 Homer, Wednesday night main event, 749-1360 or star 1360 on Ameritech.
That's Patrick's music.
I tell you, it's beautiful, isn't it? I'm getting down. Doctor, do it.
Yeah, you look like Jim Cornette on this past Sunday night.
Well, anyway, we are back. We are back with our special guest, one half of the legendary Rock and Roll Express, Ricky Morton. Ricky, ready to answer some email?
Oh, yeah.
This is from TJ in Knoxville, Tennessee.
Hey.
What were your feelings when Smoky Mountain Wrestling closed the doors?
Well, my feelings were at the time, you have to understand we had a bad situation that happened there where I left Smoky Mountain Wrestling about 6 months before that. And when I came, Jimmy Cornette, I talked to him and he brought me back. When we came back, we had like 3 good shows. And then he called everybody in. It's like a disappointment because, it was another wrestling area for the guys like us to go to. It closed down. It's just another area that you couldn't get the guys that could be in WCW or be in WWF. Smoky Mountain was an area where these guys could come and wrestle. And when it closed down, that opportunity wasn't there no more.
There's a lot of good talent there too, right?
Beg your pardon?
A lot of great talent there too.
Well, they had some of the best talent there. Well, that's the reason it was so successful. It did real great. It did, don't get me wrong. We wouldn't have these big pay-per-view houses and making that kind of money, but it was a great opportunity, especially for the younger guys that were up and coming. It was a great experience for them to learn, like it used to be, Les. When you wrestled every night.
Right.
And these young guys that were wrestling, their experience, understanding what our business was about.
D'Lo was on with us last week, and he was mentioning that he walks around the WWF dressing room sometimes now, and he said it looks like Smoky Mountain North.
Yeah, I know you can.
But that's true. And of course, then we're having Candido and Tammy on next week. They got their start down there. I mean,
yeah, you got to look at the guy from WCW, Chris Jericho.
Sure,
that's where he started.
Right, with Lance Storm, who's up in ECW now.
Another guy you got to understand is Kane. He come from Smoky Mountain Wrestling.
That's right, exactly. And he came in there with the late great Eddie Gilbert.
Yep. He come,
sure.
New Jack.
Yes. A lot of the great stars that are somebody now, they all
Mankind was even there.
I was saying to Al Snow, I said there was so much fun in Smoky. It was a great dressing room to work. I think we ought to have a reunion or something. Go down to Knoxville and all of us get together and do something.
But I'm down here in this area a lot, Les. A lot of people talk about that. I try to talk to Jimmy Cornette about having a Smoky Mountain reunion show in Knoxville, Johnson City, Bartlesville, Kentucky, because it's going to be great. It'll be a very successful show if we did that.
Yeah, I think it would too. Let's get to some callers here before we run out of time. On line 3, I think it is, we've got Ross. Ross, you're on All Sports 1360. Homer.
All right, thanks. As a tag team, what was your favorite team to wrestle against?
Beg your pardon?
What was your favorite team to wrestle against, Rick?
Oh, there's no doubt. Midnight Express. Bobby Eaton and Dennis Connors. Dennis Connors and Stan Lane with the manager Jimmy Cornette. That was the best tag team we ever wrestled. far as going across the country. We went for many years, and I enjoyed working.
A lot of great chemistry there, right?
Oh, yes, it sure was. And, and I ain't taking enough away from nobody. The Russians, Ivan Koloff, and, Prussia Khrushchev and Nikita, they were a great tag team, too. We had a great run with them. But the most ones that sticks out in my mind are with the Midnight Express, because wrestling them are the ones that made Robert and I so successful.
Don't you think that it was more, their styles were more like yours? So, you guys, it was like, wow, watching the bumps, it was like watching a tennis match.
Yeah, that's true. Their styles were sort of like that. But the main important thing was, it was the Midnight Express and the Rock and Roll Express that made the history. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We're the ones that made each other to get where we're at today.
What about the Fantastics?
Tommy Rogers.
Yeah.
And Bobby Fulton.
Right.
Oh, they're a great tag team. I mean, they're wrong. They were good, but they were a babyface tag team, and it was a bit different.
They were trying to steal your thunder.
Well, it's not really that. The only bad thing that happened to the Fantastic was everywhere that Robert and I were at, and we left, they brought them in to fill the shoes, which they did a good job. But, it was a hard road for them to go.
That's a big pair of shoes, man.
Yeah, it was a hard road for those guys to go. And, you got to look now, these guys, they're great tag team wrestlers.
What about your matches with Tully and Arn?
Oh, they were great. That was the ones with the Four Horsemen, but it was Tully and Arn. It wasn't only always Tully and Arn. It was, Ole Anderson and Arn.
Ole was a hell of a worker, too,
Ric
right?
Flair and the Anderson. Then that's when they brought Lex Luger in, Four Horsemen, at that time. It just went every night, those two guys. But, but the one with the Midnight Express is the one that stuck out, because, like I said earlier, not trying to repeat myself, they're the ones that brought us, our fame in professional wrestling.
Ross, you still with us?
Yeah.
You got another question?
No, that was it.
Hey, we appreciate you tuning in.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, let's go to line 2. We got John from Bethel. You're on All Sports 1360 Homer.
Hello?
John, how are you?
How you are?
Well, great, thank you. How's things up in Bethel?
Well, it looks cooling off.
It sure is. We're getting our fall, aren't we? You got a question for Ricky?
Yeah. Did you ever wrestle with Brian Pillman?
Beg your pardon?
Did you ever wrestle with Brian Pillman?
Yes, several different occasions during the I wrestled against him a lot, especially when I was joined up with the York Foundation. Him and John Lee Bad, which is Mark Merrill now, they were a tag team, and we had a little thing going there with the York Foundation against them. And I teamed up several times with Brian Pillman. A lot of six-man tags with Brian did.
I had heard that he was crazy.
What's that?
He said he heard he was crazy.
Well,
we all are business, right?
Well, for this business, but you got to understand this. God loves crazy people. He made a bunch of us. Yeah.
He did.
Yeah, he did, John. There's a lot of us crazy in this business.
Oh, yeah.
I got one more question for you. Hey, was that?
Beg your pardon? Hello?
I think we lost John, Les.
I think we lost John, too. We're doing a poll. John, glad you're listening. Sorry, we got you cut off there. Real quick, we got time for one more caller. Bob from Batesville, Indiana. Bob, you're on 1360 All Sports Homer.
Hey, Les. I was just wanting to say, I got that same feeling you guys did when Rick came out. All that's going on today, in the wrestling business, that you want to get back to the old times. Hell, I'm only 20. I've talked to you a few times, Les. Remember, I was on the show, and it was just great to see those guys together. Ricky, I've seen you work a few times. I just want to say, I really love watching you guys work in the old Southern style. It's really good that you guys are putting us back together.
Well, I appreciate that, Bob. I thank you very much. And that's something that I believe in. And, they say right now, if you can't beat them, join them. But I'm not going to join them. I'm sticking with the old style of Ricky Morton. That's the way I am. I'm always going to be. And I appreciate you calling, and I thank you for the compliments very much.
You're welcome. Thanks a lot, Les.
Hey, Bob, thanks for listening. If you want to check out Ricky Morton real soon, come on up Saturday night to Hamilton Armory. We're on Sims Road up in Hamilton. Ricky will be on the card up there. All you folks come up, get autographs, check Ricky's match out. If you see him in the ring, you're going to see a great match.
And that's another thing, too, is the wrestlers have about today is something that Robert and I never have. No matter what or who we are, Robert and I, because there's a lot of things in this world you can't do to make everybody like you. But all you can do is go out there and do your best, perform, and do what you know what to do best. The thing that Robert and I always done, no matter who you are, we always put your fans number one. That's why the Rock and Roll Express never mind to be number two.
You're absolutely
and we appreciate everybody everybody can call in. You know, Les, my wife just had a baby 8 weeks ago.
Right, I know that.
And she's in here hollering. But it's great. I'm looking forward to coming back to Ohio, and I hope the response to the people coming out will be very great. And we know that I'm there, always there early. I love talking to the people, the fans. I even like talking about the old days of wrestling. Because a lot of them always come up and ask me about the cage matches with Ole and Arn and all that. And I love getting to that, talking to that. So if you got anything to come up, I'll be looking forward to seeing all of you. And Les, I'll be really looking forward to seeing you.
Brother, it's always a pleasure. We appreciate you being on. I'll see you this Saturday night in Hamilton, on the 3rd up in Blanchester. And Rick, drive safe on your way up Saturday.
I sure will, sir.